So, I'm going to read a little bit from the Astrology of Love and Sex by Annabelle Gatt. And it's, she has a very different viewpoint than I do. But, oh my god, these leaves are wet.
Hey,
How is that?
due overnight, right?
Must be.
It happens.
Anyway,
It happens a lot more than people realize. But it's usually in the summertime it gets bad.
she is certified by the International Society for Astrological Research.
Certified
so you know
what?
that's
Certified what?
I don't know. You know that's legitimate. Okay, I'm not trying to be rude here.
Yeah. So what was the name of that?
She writes a horoscope column.
Okay.
Only since 2015, or has been an international success since.
Okay. Wow. That's a track record that's like a couple steps long, really.
Yeah. So anyway, you can go ahead and eat while I read to you.
So what's her name?
Annabelle Gatt.
Annabelle. I think that means amiable or something like that. Lovable. And Gatt, eh? That's it. Where that comes from, Gatt. Can't figure that.
But anyway, I did like one thing. Which sign should you date? Let's get started. And it's a little second. So
it kind of looks girly, eh?
Well, a warm fire is crackling before you. Your lover places a mug of hot chocolate with homemade marshmallows in your hand. You feel so safe and cozy with your partner. Not only do you two laugh together all the time, but you're also able to comfortably cry around each other. A handmade quilt wraps you two as you gaze at the stars after deeply passionate lovemaking.
Yeah, okay.
Does that work for you?
Kind of, sort of, I guess. I don't know. That sounds like a fun time.
Yeah. So is that your dream date?
I got lots of different dream dates, so it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not like one thing.
Well, that's dreamy. I'm so there for moonlit evenings with Cancer. Cancer dream date.
Okay, well, see, there you go. Yeah, so.
I've been making you hot chocolate lately.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, what I was going to say about this book is mostly it is really not the astrology of love. It's the astrology of
getting it on?
Dates, just going dating and very casual casual sex.
Well,
that's what it is. It's not about love.
It's different from love, isn't it?
It's
so it's aimed for a young audience, right?
Yeah, and it's like she doesn't, okay, there's different what you might expect from a date, whatever, but okay, I'm going to read the sex thing that I read to James already about Cancer, and according to her, Cancer is like the freakiest one, I think, in the book. Maybe Scorpio. Scorpio's like the super sex. Anyway, but Cancers may appear shy, but don't be fooled. They very much enjoy pursuing their crushes and like to take charge in relationships. Cancer may be the homemaker of the zodiac, but they're incredibly freaky. They're intrigued by power and domination in bed, so ask them how they feel about BDSM. Don't be afraid to queef, fart, sweat, squirt, or slurp around them. I don't know. I don't think anybody should be afraid to do that anytime, but whatever, anyway, these things don't turn them on per se, but something about the messy side of sex just makes them feel giddy. If something is noisy, wet, and messy, Cancer thinks it's a good time. Highly emotional people, Cancers find sex to be deeply transformative act. It's a physical expression of love that not only brings them closer to their lover, but also helps them process the many complicated feelings they experience. It's a chance to relax, tune out the outside world, and connect with their partner, or with themselves through masturbation, which is an important experience for them. Anyway, turn-ons: big boobs, little boobs, perky butts, giant butts, pecs and calves, peach fuzz, and hairy patches are all good. The crab loves bodies and everything about them. Smother them with your body and they'll likely be into it. Crabs have a fantastic imagination, and this translates to the bedroom as well. Get whimsical, whether it's a vampire snacking on its prey's blood or runaway who have joined the circus and are cuddling together on a cold night on the road. Cancers get a thrill out of role play and on exploring power dynamics too. So bust out the sexy disciplinary attitude. Submissive Cancers enjoy being teased, both in the sense of being humiliated and as well as orgasm control. No, not humiliated. Dominant Cancers enjoy rope bondage and handcuffs, as well as 24/7 lifestyles. Think a collar around the neck at dinner time. Invoke their crab claws by experimenting with nipple clamps, and while you're at the sex toy shop, pick up some restraints and lubes. The wetter the better. Kinky Cancer is up for nearly anything. Sex on the beach is not just a drink, but an act that this water sign would enjoy. They feel at home by the water. We all know how much Cancer values their home life. The body parts associated with the crab are the chest, breast, stomach, so caress them tenderly and kiss them on these spots. Anyway, I don't think that it's a good idea to ask anybody, like if you're a dominant, don't ask a submissive person how they feel about BDSM. That's totally inappropriate as far as I'm concerned. If a submissive person wants that, they will ask. They will bring it up, and otherwise it's an aggressive act just to ask, honestly. If you're an aggressive person and you're asking a submissive person, it's an aggressive act all alone. I won't say that it's rape just to ask. That's going too far. But it's if they're a submissive person, they're going to want to please you. So just suggesting that would please you is going to encourage them to do it, even though they don't want to, frankly. This thing about the idea that bondage, discipline, sadomasochism is a Cancer thing, no. I mean, I've been with James now 15, almost 16 years. And that's not a part of our lovemaking at all. It was with my last boyfriend. He was a Leo. And if you look into Leo, well, if you just know a Leo,
just don't get to know them too well.
They're the king, right? And you're going to be the servant to please them. I don't know if I've ever I've met one Leo that I didn't know him well enough that way to know actually if he was going to. Frankly, I think if I dated any Leo, eventually they would be the king and I would be the servant. I think it's just who we are as people. I don't think it could ever be any different. But to say that this is a Cancer trait for sex, no, it's not. Cancer's the nurturer. Cancer wants to make their lover happy. So yes, with Taurus here, it's food is apparently a major turn on. And so me cooking the deck dinners, apparently, I don't know. Do they work for you, or do you find it exciting somehow? Or when I bring you a hot cup of chocolate?
Hot chocolate.
Yeah, that does it.
Hot chocolate is awesome.
But yeah, with the Taurus thing, Taurus, when I read Cancer, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, well, maybe that's just, how things are going in society. And because really, BDSM's pretty commonplace now.
I'm afraid you're right.
Yeah, but
man.
honestly, and so I turned to Taurus and I'm like, he doesn't get this. Come on now. So his is all, loves romance and don't necessarily need candles and flowers. But they like a drawn out lovemaking session. It's incredible. When, I had never experienced anything when we were together the first time all night, and I'm like, how? Because it's high energy all night. I don't know how you did it. But incredible.
Not anymore. There's something about having 5 fractured vertebrae that kind of limits you.
No, it's still some quality activity though.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly pleased. But yeah, I would highly recommend Taurus. Anyone, they should write that in the beginning for the date thing. All night long. So anyway, But what else was I going to mention about this book? So, oh, I don't know why I put that. I don't think I was going to read anything from there, was I? Well, one thing I was going to mention is that there is a lot of mention of dominance and submission in this book. Whereas when I was reading sex astrology books 20 years ago, that was not in there. So it's really become mainstream. And even, I mean, if you're, I can't stress it strongly enough. If you're a submissive person, know it. Know if you're passive. And understand that not everyone is passive. And understand that when people are dominant, and know that you have the right to say, no, I'm not interested in that. And honestly, I mean, when I read some things later in here, I'm like, wow, she really didn't analyze things fairly. So I think it's I don't know if she's a Leo. I don't know what kind of aggressive sign or aggressive personality type she is, but she has not analyzed passive people correctly. That's all I have to say about that. This movie, Miss Arizona, was not good. So I don't really have more to say about
I remember
that.
seeing a few flashes of it, and then I fell asleep.
Yeah.
You were playing it while I was there, right? Anyways.
So you can talk about Hippie Cult Leader, The Last Words of Charlie Manson by James Buddy Day.
Yeah, this is just going to be preliminary sort of thing. I just picked it up this morning. This guy's fascinating. I think he'd be born in Calgary, maybe. His parents used to do news and stuff like that on Calgary TV. I think Global or something.
Elvis is on the table eating the golden berry. I think that's what he's doing.
He's trying to look innocent.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay, hippie.
Yeah, you can't see Elvis.
No, you probably can't, but he's right there.
Elvis Presley. It's Elvis Bell. But, yeah, so, no. His parents actually, his mother especially, she wrote one book, a pretty good book, Fire on Ice, the Theo Fleury story. So he was that hockey player.
God, Elvis, what is he doing? That's the thing about Chihuahuas. They jump everywhere. They're up on the tables, up on the shelves, wherever they can get.
He's very athletic. His best move was the Matrix move. There's a guard on the couch here, and he'll come up and go off the back of the couch over them.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, we see you.
He likes doing that, like going around the room. He'll do it again and again. It's pretty good. Anyway, this guy claims to be the last guy to interview Charlie Manson. There's several phone interviews apparently, and I just was looking at the diagram. He's got a diagram for the real cause of the murder, so it's not helter-skelter. You heard about the motive, according to the prosecuting attorney, Vincent Bugliosi?
No.
It was like to bring on helter-skelter.
Oh, yeah.
So, like a race war and things like that. But this guy's got several diagrams, and he details it, and it looks as though, I'll have to follow up, but it looks as though he's saying there was an initial murder by one of the members of the group, not sanctioned by Charlie, apparently. And then, there was an attempted murder. And Charlie, you saw it, I think, in that movie where he shot the black guy, and the black guy survived. So, Charlie was paranoid about that because they thought this guy was a Black Panther. He thought the Black Panthers were going to come after him. So he hung with a Hell's Angels thing. This is the thing that makes me laugh about the people back then. I've talked about it before. with Pauline, maybe not on camera, but how they were going along. So, you know, the birds were singing about a big party they had at Golden Gate Park and stuff like that. And he's singing about a friendly motor biker, you know, and stuff like that. And they just thought bikers were outlaws just like them, you know, like they're left-wingers too. No, they're not. You know, like any sensible person would have read Hunter S. Thompson's book on it. Hunter hung with them. And he got beaten up by them and all this sort of stuff. And this book was, you know, like, basically these guys aren't the latest manifestation of the Mongols, but they're not nice people. They're right-wingers. That's what they are. You know, if you're a hippie, or if you're a left-winger, if you're a Democrat, you don't hang with people like that. They're just going to eat you alive. You know, like, they're not enough to, at least back then, they weren't enough to tear up society. Now, with their involvement in the drug industry and stuff like that, illegal drugs, and with them really ganging up, they are a threat to democracy now. But back then, they weren't. But you know, you had all sorts of people hanging out with all sorts of stupid people, and so you got people hanging around with Charlie, thinking, hey, you know, peace and love and flowers. And Charlie was a former pimp, and he used his pimp skills, you know, to get a family together. It's basically, what he did was he really wasn't that good looking, so he got a couple of good looking guys, you know, like Tex Watson must have been in shape. He'd actually set some sort of record, I think it was for Texas, for hurdles, high school hurdles. And he's a big 6'2" guy and stuff like that. Not the greatest looking guy, but not the worst. And then Bobby Beausoleil had part-time jobs in movies and stuff like that. He was they called him Cupid, right? They had nicknames, and he was called Cupid. So he'd use these guys to kind of attract the girls and stuff like that. And then I guess he kind of sweet-talked them too. So, you know, like the first time I saw a picture of Charlie in the paper, I go, that guy isn't a hippie. He's a fake hippie or something like that. But you could see, I didn't really get creepy vibes. I'm just going, this guy is just an old guy faking it, you know. And but some people, you know, they're just, you hang with anyone. And this applies nowadays. The vast majority of people out there in the world, various sorts of belief systems, various colors, it doesn't matter, it goes all the way from white to brown to black or yellow, somewhere in between there. The vast majority of people do not believe in democracy. They don't envy us our freedoms, as George Bush said. They fear and loathe our freedoms. They don't want those freedoms for people within their society, and they loathe our society for the freedoms that we grant women, narrow as they might be, and to gays, narrow as they might be. They fear and loathe us for those freedoms. And when you hang with people like that, you're not doing yourself a favor. You're not doing the women in your society a favor. You're not doing people who are gay or otherwise gendered. You're not doing them any favor at all. And when I say that, I'm not saying it's zero. I'm being ironic. It's sad I have to explain irony, but unfortunately there are people out there who don't understand it. It is a negative. You are putting them at risk, in some cases extreme risk. But this has been around ever since the hippies and that stupid 60s, I shouldn't say stupid, screwed up 60s generation. The smartest generation of the 20th century, but possibly the most screwed up. You know, anything that's against the law, well, you know, like outlaws are left-wingers. No, they're not. Most outlaws are absolute right-wingers. They're dominants. And they're going to dominate you. They're not going to go, you know, you might lay some weed on them and stuff like that. That might mellow them out. What got Charlie Manson going? Here's what happened. There was some stupid young pup. He was a lawyer, and he wanted to defend Charlie. And here's how he put it in the newspapers: "This is the first of the LSD murders." Well, people don't really commit murders, especially serial murders. Someone might get freaked out and kill someone. I don't know what it's like to be on LSD, but no. Here's something. Here's what came from one of the first murder was 8th of August 1969. Here's someone involved with the family talking about 1968, and it's around Christmas. And here's what he says: "That's when we got involved in amphetamines." Yeah, this was not one of the first. These were not some of the first amphetamine murders. Amphetamine murders occurring ever since amphetamines started getting abused. So yeah, you might give them some weed and it might mellow them out, but they're going to be on amphetamines or crack or whatever, and they're going to be whacking people, including you. So anyway.
So one thing I was going to mention is that how she twisted this book to say that cancers are into BDSM. So definitely ask them, if you're interested, just go for a cancer. And no, I mean, and I read Virgo, because the signs she didn't mention at all. It's supposed to be a book about the astrology of love and sex. And I was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to expect to see which signs I'm most compatible with. And I know from experience reading these things when I was 20 and younger, whatever, and that it's Taurus and Virgo and Scorpio that I'm most compatible with. Well, I'm reading Virgo here, so I wanted to see, okay, well, Cancer's supposed to be all freaky and stuff. Well, Taurus isn't freaky. I'm reading the Taurus, and I know from experience Taurus is not freaky. So the Taurus is not freaky in this book, and Scorpio, she says, is. And I've dated a couple Scorpios, and maybe I didn't know them well enough, but not freaky. And anyway,
no.
What she says about Virgos here is Virgo is the sign of service, and that certainly extends to the bedroom, where they're very eager to please their lovers and to explore their own sexual needs. And I just instantly reading that, I felt like, oh, poor Virgos. Because really, what's happening now is I'm seeing a lot of talk about, it's kind of veiled right now, but not very much anymore, about BDSM, and there's a lot of blaming the victim.
You mean if they didn't use the safe word? Is that the term?
There's
at
no
the right
safe word.
time, or
No, there's the safe word. That people only believed in safe words there for a while. That was a propaganda thing, really, to try to get passives to get involved with them, I think, because honestly, if you're into that for long enough, you understand there are no safe words. Eventually, if you're a passive person who decides to be a submissive in a sadomasochistic relationship, or really has been convinced to be submissive for a dominant, then you're getting involved with somebody who gets excited by causing somebody else pain, plain and simple, by dominating somebody else. So are they going to be able to stop themselves? They get excited by it. So
you're taking a chance.
Yeah, and I mean, when you see the ball gags and stuff like that, you're like, well, how is that person going to get the safe word
especially
out?
if you're being restrained, like you're going to do some sign language.
There's no such thing as safe word. So that's just a myth, really. And so lately I'm seeing a lot of blaming the victim. So seeing Cancer here as the big, oh yeah, they're into BDSM, I'm like, Cancer's the nurturing sign. Cancer's the sign, and Virgo, they'll do anything to please their lover. We're the meek signs of the zodiac for that sort of thing, really.
Well, I'm telling you, like I was involved with the Cancer for a while way back when, and if I'd made an approach like that, if anyone did, there would have been some B and D without the bondage, and it would have been a tongue lashing. And deservedly so. Anyone who goes out and asks that kind of questions deserves the very
No,
least a
really,
tongue
I
lashing.
mean, if you're a Cancer out there, and I mean, I'm afraid a lot of people will read books like this or whatever and think, oh yeah, you're a Cancer? Oh, well, how are you feel about it? No, just your response is, okay, well, what exactly do you want me to do to you? To you. Don't take anything from them. Just say, okay, well, so you want me to be your dominant. Make it very clear that they're not going to dominate you. Because this is, right now, this is what's happening, is the passives are being told that they are actually the ones that are causing the freakiness, that are bringing on the, like my ex used to tell me all the time, I'd tell him, you're a very passionate lover, you're very exciting and this and that, but he'd say, no, it's you. And so I read this and I'm like, God, maybe it was me, and so then but no, because I mean, he phoned me afterwards and give me details about with his new girlfriend that he had, and he was doing pretty much the same sort of thing, but with my it was a completely different experience. So
it was
wasn't
a
me.
patent attempt to try to make Pauline jealous.
I
don't think it worked at all, because I can't recall you dwelling on it. Every so occasionally, now that he's died, you'll bring it up, but it's
no.
You weren't bringing it. Man, that guy's having so much fun.
No, I told him I was happy for him that he found somebody that was more like him, and I'd try to be supportive when he'd call me to
tell you whatever you didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
I'll get too much information.
Anyway.
You were mentioning it to me yesterday, and I was thinking, too much information.
Were you thinking that?
Well, it was about the piercing that he got.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, he'd do these things to himself. So anyway,
which is really what they should do. Like, if they want to inflict punishment, inflict it on themselves.
Like, if I want I want a little bit of pain, I'm not going to make him do it to me.
He wouldn't be able to stand
No, he wouldn't be able to do it. I can handle that myself. But anyway, because I gotta admit, I enjoy different things like being bitten or whatever. Or when I bath, I don't just do the, what do you call it?
Scrubbing?
The dry brushing and stuff beforehand or whatever. I use my nails, and I use like very, very hot water that leaves me very red. So
yeah,
I like to sting a little bit.
Yeah, whereas,
but I can handle that myself in different ways like that.
Yeah, I don't like pain. I don't like inflicting.
No.
I remember one time I sat in. It was this
You're such
silly
a
thing to
delicate
do.
little person.
Yeah. I sat in on a chem lab, right, with my best friend's girlfriend, right? So I just sat in on the lab, and the lab was, part of it was, you get a partner, and you give a blood test. So you get, you kind of cut open their thumb or something like that. And she couldn't do it to me, and I couldn't do it to her. There's just no way